Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's Golden Wind Geekout. I'm your host, Danny. Got my co-host, Ryan, with me.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
And just the two of us this week. Sadly, Brian could not join us. Still no sign of gigs. But regardless, we're going to talk about episode 36, Diavolo Surfaces. And, of course, we have to begin with saying goodbye to our special boy, Doppio.
Oh, yes, as he slowly fades away from Bruno's corpse body.
Yeah. I mean, I totally understand why they didn't want to do this last week, just because, it was all about Narancia. It's like, we don't need to be throwing Doppio on top of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, so it makes sense to go slip this in right at the very beginning. But it's like, yeah, it's still kind of, again, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's because it's my bias. I prefer Doppio over Diavolo, so maybe this is my bias here. But it's like, it's very sad to just see where, like, yeah, he's just on the ground bleeding to death, and he's just waiting for Diavolo to call him again.
He just wanted just one last phone call, and he couldn't even get that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, poor bastard.
Although I will say, I think if he actually did somehow get that final call as he's dying, I think the whole sentimental part of the whole scene would have been completely ruined.
Yeah, Doppio trying to do the ringing sound while he's coughing up blood.
I just want you to call me one last time, but oh, thank God.
Yeah, but sadly, no more phone calls because Diavolo is no longer with him. He is now possessing one of the other people. So, pretty much like the bulk of this episode is, more or less they're starting to realize just what happened. What happened with how did Diavolo manage to kill Narancia, where he's like nowhere in sight. So slowly picking everything up. You get the whole scene where he's still fucking with them. Like you get he broke Mista's gun.
Oh, yeah, really. It's like, here we have Mista being like, oh no, my gun broke because of metal fatigue. It's like, oh no. There was more to it than just the gun simply breaking apart. That was all Diavolo's doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, good on Mista for grabbing a backup gun, but, now he grabbed like a regular Beretta. So it's not a 6-chamber revolver.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, at least with his revolver, he's able to simply reload his gun like instantly, like whenever he's out of ammo. But yeah, no, with the other gun that he has, it's like, oh no, it takes a lot of time to reload and put in a new cartridge for the weapon.
Yeah, anybody that's ever gone target practicing and has actually fired a weapon that has like preloaded cartridges can tell you how it's very time consuming, to pull out the clip and all that or such. So it's like, and let alone it's just one of those things like, okay, Mista grabbed the gun, but it's like, again, like grabbing preloaded clips. That will easily take up way more. Again, that'll take up way more time. Even keeping it on himself. Because I mean, we always see like he's always carrying bullets on him, like in his boots, in his hat. But he's just stockpiling individual bullets because it was quick and easy reload with Sex Pistols. Yeah, not necessarily this way with the Beretta cartridges. So it's like, yeah, where the hell would you stick these freaking preloaded cartridges? Like in Trish's bra or something, probably. But but it's like, but yeah, that's probably another reason why he prefers to use the revolver, is because like he'd rather just keep a fuck ton of bullets on hand rather than try to carry around a ton of preloaded clips.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, suffice it to say, I mean, it's like, kudos for Anaraki for, doing homework on different types of firearms there. Should not have to be saying that, but here I am saying that.
Thank you for doing your research on various guns. See, not a whole lot of people can do that, I guess.
Yeah, but that being said, so that happens, and then we see pretty much the final stage of what's going on with Requiem, where once again, to keep everybody away from the arrow, because putting everyone to sleep and switching their bodies was not enough. We gotta have everybody go full Cronenberg now.
Yeah, it's like no, that what happens next is it's just basically just Cherry and Requiem just playing the cherry on top of the sundae. We had people go to sleep, their souls switched with various bodies that are closest to them, and now literally everybody is turning into the freaking thing.
Yeah, that's where it's like, so it's like, yeah, we're just gonna completely like shift into like all these new creatures. So basically, like, who you are would pretty much effectively, more or less effectively die. I mean, even Trish, like, in Mist's body, because you do see, like, really out of everybody, like, really, like, Polnareff and Trish were, like, the ones that were already starting to get affected. Like, you see Polnareff's got the weird little demon claw sticking out of his shell. Yeah, it's like, you do see, like, the fingers, like, on Mrs. hand where it's, like, yeah, like, the skin's starting to peel away. It kind of looks like a robot or something. Like, I don't know what the hell that is. But it's like, right now those are the only two that they're already starting to change. But it's like, yeah, even Trish is just like, yeah, nobody feels any pain. So this isn't even a painful process, which probably makes it even more terrifying. It's just, you're just going to become this creature, and, who you are physically and even spiritually will just completely be gone. So it's like, it's like, God damn it, Requiem. It's like, putting everyone to sleep and switching your bodies just for kicks, just, that's not enough to keep the arrow at bay. Everything is like, nope, we gotta go full Cronenberg.
Yeah, more or less. It's like, yeah, Cronenberg, freaking, I would go so far as to say Parasite Eve territory, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, except like, the people here aren't, I mean, yeah, they are turning into blobs, but they're not like becoming one giant amorphous blob in order to birth a demon creature. That's where it's like, that's not happening, I hope.
Yeah, thank God there were no rats involved.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, literally, like, so yeah, this is pretty much like, okay, now you're on a time limit. Before it was like, okay, yeah, we may have switched bodies, but, yeah, we'll just take our time and figure things out, and we'll eventually get back in. Nope, now you're pressured. You're under a time limit now. So it's like, now they got to finish this shit soon, or else everybody's gonna go Cronenberg. And then we have, and we got Giorno pretty much figuring everything out, where he's like, nope, the boss fucked with your gun, mister, so he's possessing one of us, and that's why, he got to the gun, he got to Narancia, like, that's what happened. So now it's just a matter of trying to determine just who exactly is possessing, who is Diavolo possessing, and this is where Giorno does the same trick that Polnareff was using, biting his finger and watching the blood droplets, and now you see where the opening was referencing that. So we get that, and everybody, well, not necessarily everybody, it's more so Mista. Mista is having his own fucking freak out, because he's like, okay, if what you're saying is true, Giorno, and it's like, well, wait a minute, how do we know that you're not the one that's possessed? Get the hell away from me, or I'll fucking blast your kneecaps. So it's like, that's like, really, like, everybody else is like all calm except for Mista. Mista's the one that's like having a fucking panic attack over here.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it's like, to this day, it's like, okay, going back to like when you first showed me this part of the manga to at this moment when we just we witnessed this part yet again, this time to the anime adaptation. I honestly, I still never really got why Mista was freaking out so much, because it's like Giorno already established that when Narancha was taken out of the picture and Giorno was able to, get back into his body, and it turned out to be nothing but an open shell, that it would be like it would be impossible for Diavolo to possess him, because the only one who was able to take control of his own body was Giorno. And on top of that, clearly Mista had nothing to hide. So it's like, for me, it's like, all right, look, I get where Misto is coming from. When it's like, okay, all right, how do we know that you're not being possessed by Diavolo? How do you know that the boss is gonna take me out because he's in your body? But even then, it's like Mista had nothing to lose. So when you think about it like that, it's like, what's really the point of Mista, freaking out like that?
I think it's just more so, yeah, he was just, fucking terrified with what was going on. I mean, because you gotta remember, he just watched Narancha die. So it's like, he just watched that. It's like, literally, like, probably, like, what, not even 5 minutes ago, Narancha died, like, right before his eyes. And, with Giorno now saying that Diablo is possessing one of them, and, it's like, I guess, like, this has got to be like, yeah, like, this is Mista's fear coming out. Because he's like, okay, wait a minute. We have no way of telling. And, Giorno's proposing the solution. It's a very risky one, because, I mean, he's like, Giorno has to take that risk, He's like, I have to approach somebody and, physically check and see how many souls are in your body. And, God forbid if he ends up picking, like, the one person that's got Diavolo could easily kill him. So it's like, Miss is probably like, well, wait a minute. If Diablo's in you, he already took out my gun. I don't want him anywhere near me. Like, he took out my friend. He took out my gun. I don't want you anywhere near me. So I'm thinking that's probably why he's freaking out.
Guys, like, that would be the best way that, yeah, I could agree with that. But it's like, when you really get down to it, it's like, even now, it's like, all right, look, if Mista's gonna be freaking out that much and constantly saying it's not me, Diablo's not in me, I swear to God, I am fine, there's nothing to worry about. Like, saying that constantly, it's like, all right, Mista, you are not helping your case. Regardless if you were innocent from the very beginning, the way that he was acting right there, he's practically asking to be checked by Giorno first.
Yeah, really. And it's like, Bruno being very calm makes perfect sense. I mean, that's, this is why Bruno was like, the fucking leader. He knows how to keep his cool. But even Trish was far more quiet compared to Mista.
Yeah, really.
So that's where it's like, God damn. So yeah, so we get that scene, and then ultimately we learn that Diavolo was possessing Trish in Mista's body the whole time.
It wasn't Mista and it wasn't Bro. Of course, it had to be the third option.
Right. I'm assuming probably because of the whole, family blood ties and shit. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's easier for him to possess Trish because she is his daughter compared to, like, him going, hey, I'm gonna go possess Bruno, or something. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, but suffice it to say, we see that he's possessing Trish, and pretty much using Spice Girl to pretty much force the body to go after Requiem. And this is where we get to a very confusing explanation. That's where it's like, I was like, seriously, like, I know the meme is King Crimson, it just works. But I swear, this is where a lot of the Requiem shit, like, as if Requiem wasn't confusing enough already. Because, like, between all the different methods that it's using to keep people away from the arrow, but now they introduce this whole thing with the shadows and shit. Like, this is key to how you have to stop Requiem, but it's like, it was confusing in the manga. It's kind of confusing even with the anime adaptation, so I'm going to try my best to explain it. So basically, I guess every person, like, when you look at Requiem, if you look at the shadow, Requiem does not have a stationary shadow. It literally shifts from person to person. And the reason that it shifts from person to person is because the shadow, it's not exactly like a real shadow per se. Like, it doesn't react to, like, sunlight. It basically reacts to, like, a little ball of light that is behind every person's head. And, so that's why, they tried to show it off of the diagram. This is where it's like, from, like, where Diavolo is standing, the shadow is going one way, but to Bruno's perspective, the shadow will be moving somewhere else. That's because, Bruno's light and Diavolo's light, they're in different positions, so that's why the shadow is going to change. The whole point behind the whole light thing, it's basically, if you destroy, like, literally, if you destroy that light, that's behind your head, that will ultimately kill Requiem. Like, because you see King Crimson, you see he punches the little ball of light. He doesn't destroy it, but he punches it, and you see, you see Requiem fucking explode, and that gives him the opportunity to grab the arrow. But, more or less, that's kind of what's going on here. So it's like, yeah, you want to take Requiem out, you basically gotta destroy this light. And it's like, again, it's like, my God, Requiem has so many fucking explanations. It's like, God damn it. It's like, I think from what I remember in the manga, I think that's really the last bit of explanation regarding Requiem. At least I gotta double check that in the manga, but I think that's it. So it's like, we got the whole Cronenberg thing going on, but there's also the light thing. Like, they explained it, so I think that's pretty much it for explanation. So, again, let's recap. So we have a Berserk stand pierced by this special Requiem arrow, and this ability basically took Polnareff's desire to keep the arrow away from pretty much anybody, protect the arrow at all costs. And that ability transformed Silver Chariot into Silver Chariot Requiem, where it proceeded to put everybody to sleep, switch their souls, make everybody go Cronenberg, and if you want it to end, you have to destroy a light bulb behind your head. Did everybody get that?
Wow. Well, when you really put it into words, it's like, it has a very okay, the explanation gets really interesting. It has a great beginning, a great middle, but when you get to the end, where we talk about the person literally destroying a light bulb to destroy Requiem, okay, that just sounds stupid.
Yeah, a spiritual light bulb or something. That's more or less. But it's like, yeah. Seriously, people give Crimson a hard time. I know the meme is King Crimson, it just works, but it's like, seriously, it's like, now it just makes me wonder, it's like, if King Crimson, because I know the meme came from the bad translations, if that was the bad translations for King Crimson, I shudder to think what the bad translations were like with Requiem.
Yeah, really, because it's like, Because again, to reiterate, essentially just how King Crimson works, it's literally how Gigs from like a couple Golden Wing Geekouts ago, he said it himself, and quite frankly, I still agree with how he explained it. It's literally like if you're editing something in Windows Movie Maker, Adobe Premiere, Sony Vegas, or whatever, you cut a certain chunk of a video clip out, and just leave it at that. Yeah, just like what you were saying, Danny. Basically, a lot of people, they make the joke saying that King Crimson works, but no, I strongly agree. These explanations with Chariot Requiem, it's up there. It's a bit up there. I will say that.
Yeah, honestly, I think the only other stand really that probably requires like just as much explanation is probably Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap from Steel Ball Run, but yeah, we still got to get through Stone Ocean before we can get to Steel Ball Run.
Yeah, really.
I mean, my God, even fucking Stone Ocean makes more goddamn sense. And anybody who has read Stone Ocean and you know how Stone Ocean ends, I'm just saying.
I don't.
That makes more sense compared to Requiem.
Yeah, I'll just take your word for it. All right.
Oh yes. And then Trish got fisted.
Of course. Meanwhile, we have Bruno like, "Hey, Trish, join the club. We have jackets."
Seriously, it's like, yeah, Trish gets like this like badass moment here where it's like, it's like, yeah, she shows up through Spice Girl and, pretty much explains, just what it was that she did that, caused the arrow to fly out of his hand, like using that softening ability where it's like, make things soft, but when it returns back to its state, it, deals like double damage practically because it's, you're reflecting it back. So it's like, yeah, Spice Girl gets like this like great moment, and Trish has like this badass moment, literally like, calling Diavolo on his shit basically, and saying, yeah, no, fuck you, Dad. I'm not gonna fall like you did. I'm gonna surpass this. And she gets fisted.
It's like, damn it, Diavolo.
So, yep, and that's how they decide to end the episode. It's like, goddamn, you end on quite the cliffhanger.
Yeah, like the moment Trish gets fisted, that is oh man, that is so weird saying that. It's like freaking yeah, that's really how they decided to end the episode. Bruno calling out Trish's name after Diavolo, like punches right through Trish, and it's like, okay, really now? Really? All right, okay. I know your Game Gamer Productions. At least I think I do.
Alrighty, but with that said, so that pretty much covers this episode, but I think suffice it to say, now this is going to leave a lot of time for speculating. But before we actually get into that, so a couple of days ago, I know I made sure to retweet this, but with the last 3 episodes, so next week is going to air as usual. They said that there's gonna be a week break, and then that following week, they're just going to air the final 2 episodes back to back as basically a 1 hour long special. So, so that's basically how this is going. So, Golden Wing Geek Out next week, and then, pretty much the last ones, they're going to be 2 weeks from now. So now that we have that underway, now we can get into speculating. So for you anime-only watchers that you do not want to be spoiled, we will see you next week. So, speculation time. So I double-checked with the manga, before we started. So next week, I'm real curious just seeing just how far are they going to go into next week, because next week, for certain, like, this episode is going to begin with Bruno dying. Like, actually dying for good this time. So it's like, because he's going to be the one that sacrifices himself to put an end to the Requiem shit, which gives Giorno the arrow. Giorno stabs Gold Experience, and then we get Gold Experience Requiem. So not only can we expect Bruno going down next week, we should be getting Gold Experience Requiem next week too. The question that I've got though is, when is Gold Experience Requiem showing up?
Yeah, because I know it's like, okay, with moments like big reveals of like new stands or whatever, the moments the reveal is about to start or whatnot, that's when they decide to go ahead and end the episode. But yeah, considering that it's definite that we're gonna be seeing Bruno, being taken out of the picture for good, like that's the start of the next episode. And considering how long it takes for us to not only get the reveal of Gold Experience Requiem, but also the big fight between Gold Experience Requiem and King Crimson, I'm thinking at the latest, we would expect to see the reveal of Gold Experience Requiem like halfway through the episode.
Yeah, because I'm thinking if Gold Experience Requiem, like if that's the halfway point for next week is, boom, we got Gold Experience Requiem. If that happens halfway through the episode, then that means the episode should end with, Diavolo going down. Because if you remember, Ryan, once you get Gold Experience Requiem, it's like, what, 2 chapters or something, and Diavolo is dead. Well, not necessarily dead so much as just he's put in that weird reset time loop or something where he dies for all of eternity, like dies and comes back.
He goes through an endless death.
Yeah, an endless death loop. So it's like, so if Gold Experience Requiem shows up halfway through next week's episode, then I think it's pretty safe to assume that Diavolo is going down next week too. And if Gold Experience comes at the end of the episode for some reason, I don't know why they'd want to stretch it out, but if they choose to do so then that will mean that episode 37 will begin with Diavolo going down. But even then, it's like, oh god, this is now going to lead to a lot of other speculation, because it's like, let's suspend reality and say that, Diavolo goes down next week. So we have to do the Sleeping Slaves arc, that epilogue that like they threw in the middle of the ending that just stopped, it ground everything to a goddamn halt and go, oh, by the way, we're going to tell this story.
Right.
So, I mean, we are going to see Sleeping Slaves. But now I think it's just, okay, can we expect, because Sleeping Slaves is not a very long arc either. That should take 1 episode. So I guess it's a matter of, again, suspend reality, Diavolo goes down, and this episode 37 is Bruno's death, Gold Experience Requiem, Diavolo's death. Episode 37, let's just say all of episode 37 is Sleeping Slaves. So the final episode, that still leaves 1 more episode. So can we expect, are they going to maybe try and flesh out Sleeping Slaves? Or are they going to fill in a whole lot of new content?
I'm honestly hoping that they fill it up with like brand new content. Because it's like, I remember Danny, you were telling me about this earlier. Like, I think it was before we started watching the episode or whatnot. And I strongly agree, because in the original manga, the way they handled the ending with Golden Wind, it was incredibly butchered. Honestly, we barely got anything for an ending. It's like all we got, from as far as I can remember, it's like, okay, we get all this stuff happened, okay, Diavolo's going through an endless death, all right, and then this other filler arc comes in, okay, that's great, and the next thing you know, oh, by the way, Giorno's the new boss, and that's pretty much it. We don't really get hardly anything else with Trish, Mista, Fugo for that matter. So it's like, yeah, I'm honestly hoping, I agree with this. I honestly hope that we actually get a good, massive chunk of new content to make up for the many things that was somehow not added into the original manga.
That's honestly what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, a fleshed out, better ending, at the very least, is what I'm hoping is going to happen.
Oh, I am right there with you because it's like, seriously, if you guys have been following this Golden Wing Geek Out since episode 1, first of all, thank you for putting up with our shenanigans.
Yeah, really.
But with all of the praises that I sing for part 5, there's only a few instances where I definitely had to heavily criticize it. One of them was what happened was how Fugo was handled. I understand why Araki took the approach, because like we explained before, he had a completely different plan for Fugo, but then changed his mind, so he kind of had to like adjust on the fly. And while I get that, it still doesn't really excuse the fact that, with what happened to this fucking character. So it's like, so what happened with Fugo was, that was pretty bad. This is why I cling so hard on the Purple Haze feedback. Because it's really like, that's like the only time you really get any kind of closure with Fugo. And it's like, the other really big criticism I had was the ending, because it's like, I don't mind Sleeping Slaves, like I don't mind that arc. I just didn't appreciate how literally they stuffed this in right after the Diavolo fight. So it's like, okay, we get the Diavolo fight, and it's like, rather than having the time to like really like, cool down, let's reflect on what happened. Oh, no. We're going to do that later. First, we have to talk about Sleeping Slaves. And it's like, I don't mind the Sleeping Slaves arc. I get what it's trying to do. It's trying to tie into the whole, being chained down by fate and can it really be broken theme. That's the whole theme of part 5. So I totally get it. But did they really have to shove that in right after that fight? Couldn't they have, like, wrap shit up? Like, we get that. We see, what happened, what happened to Fugo? What happened to Trish, for that matter? Seriously, so much of this fucking story revolves around her, and she just drops off the face of the earth. What the fuck is that about? It's like, it's like, we know that Mista's there. Presumably Polnareff is there, because they got the turtle, and Polnareff said he's staying in the turtle. He ain't going anywhere. So we know Polnareff and Mista are still around, and yeah, we see Giorno as the boss. Would have liked to have seen how he got the position. So it's like, it's questions like that where it's like, again, Giorno being the boss is a foregone conclusion. We all know it's coming, but it would have been nice to actually see him accumulate his power. It's like, I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen Trish get some kind of a proper send-off, because it's like, we really don't know. Like, did she stick with Passione? Did she ultimately decide, nope, I'm going to go live my own life now? Thanks, guys. What the hell happened? We got nothing with Trish whatsoever. And considering that Fugo is still alive out there somewhere, oh, what are you going to do about him? Again, this is why I clinged on to Purple Haze feedback so fucking hard. But, so yeah, I'm with you, Ryan. This is where I'm hoping that, like, all the whatever time you've got, out, because suffice it to say, I think there is going to be a lot of time, after, Sleeping Slaves and shit. So it's like, whatever time you've got left, to fill these episodes, please let it actually be a good ending.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because it's like, it reminds me of like when I first initially like we were showing me the manga for the first time, and we finally got to the ending, and it only ended, I believe, on just one whole panel or something like that. And even I was like, wait, what? That's it? That's how this part ends? Okay, what the hell is this?
it was a very rushed ending.
Yeah, it really was. So it's like, so yeah, again, here's hoping that they have like more than enough time to, give this part a not so rushed ending and give the ending to another fantastic part, but just as it deserves. I mean, come on. They were able to give justice to various other parts, like, for example, like Naranja's death, for one thing. So it's like, come on, what's stopping David Productions from giving the justice the ending deserves as well?
Yeah. It's like I'm seeing people speculate. I think a lot of people are they're probably agreeing with us that it's like, flesh out the ending. I am seeing people really hoping that, oh my god, we could possibly be getting Purple Haze feedback animated. If David Production decided to animate Purple Haze feedback, which I would love them dearly for if they did, but if they did, oh, you're not getting all the Purple Haze feedback in one episode. That's not fucking happening. There's way too much shit that happens in Purple Haze feedback to be contained in just one episode.
If they were to actually go so far as to animate Purple Haze, no, they would have to cover that in like an OVA or something.
Fuck, you need several OVAs or a movie at least.
a full-length animated JoJo movie about Purple Haze feedback.
That actually would be pretty fucking awesome. Not gonna lie. It's where
man.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure finally gets a movie, and it's a part 5 movie.
But wait a minute, what about the live-action Diamond is Unbreakable movie? Doesn't that count?
That's live action, not animated by David Production.
It's not anime, it's live action, so it doesn't count.
And it's a retelling. It's nothing new.
Yeah, it's nothing new. It's not animated. It's not a retelling, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, so it's like, if you're really holding out hope on Purple Haze feedback being animated, don't hold your breath. It's not gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, because it's like it's a fan-made deal.
Yeah, well, and let alone just looking at Fugo's past that David Productions took, completely different from what was explained in Purple Haze feedback. I mean, we've pretty much when that episode aired, that more or less pretty much cemented that, okay, yeah, we're never gonna see anything Purple Haze feedback related, like animated. I would love to see it, don't get me wrong, but realistically, probably not gonna happen.
Realistically, that moment when we got Fugo's feedback, it essentially deconfirmed like the possibility of a Purple Haze adaptation being made.
Yeah, but it's like, so I would expect Fugo is going to get addressed here in the anime. David Productions is going to do their own thing with it. So that's where Lord knows what it's gonna be, because it's like, because Purple Haze feedback, the whole that is Fugo's redemption story. This is Fugo going on one last mission to pretty much prove whether or not Giorno can actually trust him, and if he can. It's like, if he fails, he dies. If he succeeds, then that's his ticket to get back into Passione and being in Giorno's good graces. So, that's Purple Haze feedback. It's Fugo's redemption arc. That's really what it is. So, okay, what are you going to do? It's like, if you're going to bring Fugo back into the fold, how are you going to do that in such a short amount of time? So that's where it's like, that's something I'm kind of curious about. What are you going to do with Trish? Like, can we expect Trish is going to stay in Passione now because she literally has nowhere else to go? Or is she going to try and, live out her own life, So where's David Production, going with that? I would like to see how Giorno became the boss. It's like, again, Purple Haze feedback has their own explanations, but we can't really rely on that. So, where is David Production going to go with that? I mean, it's like, did Giorno, did he literally just say, tell everybody, he's like, oh, by the way, I'm the boss, and, you can't really, confirm or deny that or anything because the boss was so secretive, so, just take my word for it. Or, did he end up having to use, Gold Experience Requiem, even further or something to cement his power? We don't know! So, who knows? Those are the kind of the questions that I'm hoping gets answered. I'm also noticing a lot of people, again, personally, I don't hold your breath on this one. I think people are holding out hope for some kind of a teaser or a hint or something for Stone Ocean to show up here. I don't see that happening, if only because that kind of stopped after Stardust Crusaders, really. Because if you remember, with Phantom Blood, it ended, leading up into Battle Tendency. Literally the last thing you saw was a Pillar Man. Then it's you go in, when you finish up Battle Tendency, it ends leading up into Stardust Crusaders, where you're seeing, Joseph goes to Japan and Jotaro's in prison. That was really the only 2 times where it actually really moved, it moved into the next arc, because, Stardust Crusaders ended with Stardust Crusaders. Diamond is Unbreakable ended with Diamond is Unbreakable. I think it's pretty safe to assume that Golden Wind's going to end with Golden Wind, and we will not be seeing anything Stone Ocean related for at least another year, minimum.
Yeah.
It's I know a lot of people are really excited about Stone Ocean, and it's I would honestly be very surprised if Stone Ocean got some kind of a preview. Count me surprised on that one, but I'm not anticipating it. That's kind of a tradition that's kind of stopped for a little while, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm expecting. So I'm not expecting Purple Haze feedback. I'm not expecting Stone Ocean content. I am expecting a fleshed out ending, maybe fleshed out Sleeping Slaves. Maybe they'll add some new things in there, maybe. But that's kind of where I'm expecting with it. But I don't know. I think we can probably speculate even further, probably after next week. Because again, it's we don't know how far are they going next week. That's really the thing that I think is gonna give us an idea of, okay, just how much are they gonna be able to cram in.
Yeah, exactly. It's because again, all this we've been saying again. It's been speculation. We still have no idea exactly how exactly they're going to handle the timing with Bruno being taken out of the picture or the reveal of Gold Experience Requiem. We still don't know. So it's it'll be a completely different ball game depending on how things are handled next week.
Yeah, so I think once we see Gold Experience Requiem, we'll probably have a better idea. So it's if Gold Experience Requiem shows up halfway through the episode next week, then we can expect Diavolo going down too. If Gold Experience Requiem shows up at the end of the episode next week, then the following episode, 2 weeks from then, we'll begin with Diavolo's death and just move right into Sleeping Slaves. So, it's we just gotta wait and see, where are they going next week?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, Ryan. Is there anything else that you want to add, or is there anything that you're kind of speculating about how they're gonna end this?
Oh man, honestly, I think we pretty much covered honestly, I can't think of anything else to speculate or anything. I think we pretty much covered whatever speculations that we could have done, in regards to the ending for this episode. Cuz it's yeah, I did say that I'm honestly expecting the reveal of Gold Experience Requiem to appear, halfway through tomorrow's episode. But at the latest, I would expect for that big reveal to come up, at the end of that episode. Because again, different productions, they tend to do that. Like they save like the big reveal of another brand new stand, the moment the episode is about to end. Because with them, it seems like they think of it as a really great cliffhanger. So I mean, as again, considering how these moments from this point onward, with Bruno dying and Gold Experience Requiem showing up, they're not that long of moments per se. Again, I'm still hoping it'll be halfway through, but considering how different productions have been handling these big reveals or whatever, and seeing as how this is Golden Experience Requiem we're talking about here, I would not put it past me if they went right ahead and just saved that big reveal for the end of tomorrow's episode.
All right. Well, we're just gonna have to wait and see. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Definitely look forward to next week. Next week is good. There's gonna be some crazy shit going on next week. So
loads and loads of crazy things.
Yeah, so lots of hype for next week because we got a lot of big moments coming. So yep. So I guess with that said, hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next week.
All right, we'll see you guys then.